Hi, I'm gonna make a video about today's something I'm very angry about, which is the WG21 still refused to fix C++ exceptions. Now, here's the guy who is saying what's the status of zero overhead deterministic exceptions, right? Which is the Hofstadter's through values proposal. But they're saying that the community still hasn't recognized the exceptions are problematic, right? They're saying they won't do that, right? I really accept it, right? They want to pass things like expected, but not fixing exceptions. They don't think exceptions are problems. Even today, they still not recognize C++ exceptions is a huge issue, right? It's just completely retarded, right? C++ exception is just very bad, right? Just very bad. Even Linus Torvalds disagree with C++ exceptions, right? A lot of people disagree with C++ exceptions, but they still refuse to fix it, right? I think I don't need to repeat the argument I made about the exceptions, why exceptions are so bad, why they are doing that. But look at what they're doing. They basically have no idea what they're doing, right? They're saying they're asking what's the status of zero overhead deterministic exceptions. They are saying Hofstadter's proposals are really accepted. Then you have a bunch of morons like this guy. This guy is a moron, right? This guy is a moron. He is a moron. He just want to add garbage into C++, like safety, which we know C++ can never be as safe as he would expect, right? I mean, in fact, if it comes that case, you not just breaking code, and a lot of people will not be happy with it. Like me, I don't want those garbages. But what they're doing, they just don't recognize exceptions are problem. They think the proposal is API based. It's just problem API. No, it's nothing to do with API, right? You just return two integers pass a carry flag. Why is it an API problem? It's out of scope. Why is it out of scope? You think C++ exception handling itself isn't out of scope, right? You have the entire Ethereum API, entire all sorts of, right? The wall of standard, right? To standardize the current exception, right? Our today's dynamic type-based exceptions. But he's saying that his new proposal is not API-based anymore. It's still API-based. Then what are existing exceptions? What are you going to do with that? It's not even just a problem with API. It's actually how you're going to. It's actually portability issues, right? How are you going to use exceptions in kernel? How are you going to use exceptions in wasm? You might say, wasm going to just add proposals or exceptions. What's the point of doing that? Why we cannot just even you do that, you still cannot guarantee the wasm is going to support that, right? Because you might use some machines like I do that will not use wasm. Right, then we'll not use the wasm VM, like translating wasm to Lua. Just like the project I just mentioned here, wasm to Lua. I really want to compile C++ to Lua, but you are going to kill it. You're literally killing it, right? Now, we are all very angry about this. We all think the C++ just complete lack of directions. They just have no idea what they're trying to do, and they are wasting time on garbage like stoof print, right? Which is another thing. They're still just ignoring the problem of IOStream. They refuse to fix IOStream and give you crap like this, right? And they just, right? I think finally what people is going to do is that they are going to just. They are going to just fork C++, right? They're going to fork C++, just like C++ did to C, because C did a lot of wrong things, and C++ saying good thing. I think finally we'll be another language just fork around C++, right? And remove all those garbages with it, right? Like the crazy things with it, like stu format, right? Stu format is just a crazy things. There's no reason to add it, and that's entire situation. Now, this guy is another moron. He just basically saying you must use exceptions, right? You still doesn't change the fact people ban it, right? They ban them for legitimate reasons, and you still don't put a stu address of the compilers. I still have no address of. I don't care about all your optional expected, all sorts of garbages like that, right? All those are the craziness, right? I think there's a reason why people hate the language right now. It's because of these bad decisions what WG21 is doing, right? It's literally just bad decisions. Though you cannot face current exceptions. No matter how hard you're trying to do with that, you still cannot change the fact a lot of platforms has no exception handler. They cannot handle exceptions, like wasm. Like wasm is a typical example. Now, wasm is just an example. We don't know what thing in the future we will have with similar things, right? Wasm is just one example, right? Maybe we'll have something which is other than wasm but very, very similar. They are going to fall into the same trap like current wasm is falling, right? You cannot have exception handling in C++ in wasm. I know some people say EM scripting. EM scripting is not, I want to repeat again. EM scripting is not what truly a wasm environment. They emulating set jump, long jump. And the performance hits are huge. Some people are telling me just around 2 times, 3 times performance hit. Because we're using the emulation of SJLJ with the JavaScript exception. Right. So just this guy's a complete moron, and it's just the entire just r/CBV is about the moron, right? I'm just typical morons. They're just morons. I have to say that, right? They have no idea what they're doing, and it's giving you the crap like this, like all those crap. The entire code is just crap, right? You are still abusing operator overloading. You're not fixing it. You're just abusing operator overloading. Then give you crap like this. So that's about today's things, and I really hope that someone could just focus things around and add things that should be added and remove all the garbages like stu format, for example, like care-conf, all sorts of garbage. Like particularly, they're not fixing things like IO strip. They're not doing that. They're not fixing things that should be expected. They just think, oh, it's not a problem. Exceptions are not a problem. They are problematic, right? A wasm, you still don't know talking about wasm. You're still not talking about those platforms, right? I still cannot use exceptions in wasm, right? How are you going to do with it? I don't want another runtime library, and even with that, I'm still gonna pay 50 kilobytes of runtime of exception handling, plus all sorts of craziness, another 50 kilobytes, 100 kilobytes of runtime just for exception handling. That's ridiculous. That's totally ridiculous and unacceptable. My binary size are only around 10 or 20. You add 100 kilobytes of a binary size with exception handling. How is that being acceptable? That's completely unacceptable, right? And again, I think there's a reason why current people they just love to talk about this, which is completely doesn't matter. Like exceptions on happy paths, whatever, because they just write buggy code, right? They use exceptions to handle their bugs. They're not using exceptions for handling truly errors, because we know C++ exception cannot handle errors. It's not possible to handle errors with exceptions, but they're just using exceptions to report bugs, right? They're asking you why you must use exceptions, dude. They send us crap like stood expected, all sorts of other things. Just like I think they're doing similar things again, not just to the exception, but to I/O, right? They give you crap which is to format. then it scrolls 4 times slower, even on the IO stream. Then what's the point of that? I fail to see any point with this current stu format, with all the stu print, whatever, FM, with all the FMT crap, right? Just completely waste time on WG21. But they're not fixing actual problem with these exceptions, right? They're not fixing it. So that's all about today's video, and I will continue to start this fight, right? A lot of people, if you willing to join me, please join me. We need a real fight against WG21, right? These people, they need to retire. I feel that the entire WG21 is a bunch of stubborn people. They need to retire. They themselves are problems, right? They themselves are problems. Including beyond Mr. Strop, right? He's a problem, right? He doesn't write code anymore. He don't know how bad it is, right? I'm trying to port things to wasm. What did you do with it? ABI based. You have no idea what you're talking about, dude. These guys have no idea what they're talking about at all, right? If you ever write the wasm program, you know operating system kernel. You know what I'm saying, right? They're not making to address a freestanding. They're just adding crap, right? And I think people don't like it at all, right? They think the C process adding too much things that just completely irrelevant. Why people think it's a bad language? Yes, it is very bad for things like this, right? They have no idea what they should add or shouldn't add, right? It's not because whether you're adding features or not. It's about whether you are adding the right features or not. You're not adding the right features, right? You're adding things which is completely irrelevant, right? Just other language had that, so we also need to have that. No, that's not a reason, right? Other language, they have their own use case. You cannot use other languages use case to apply to your language, right? Every language, right? You cannot say that. You cannot use other languages things to put in the C++ and expect things to work very well. Now we have seen the problems before with the red gaps, the garbage collection, right? And now we have this format situation, which is not a very bad situation. Now we're going to have these situations. We already have this situation for 30 years, but it's still not going to fix it. They're wasting time to implement things like is, as, but no one is actually using their time to implement this, right? If I'm a compiler guy, I would just implement that 2 years ago, but I'm not. I'm not a compiler guy. I have no idea how compiler could work, right? Okay, so that's about today's video, and hope you can enjoy it, and I don't want to waste your time anymore. Bye.